Hey there, Mountaineers! Welcome to the first in what is hopefully a very long series of commentary videos about Historyland. Yeah, this is the first episode. We're not sure how this is going to go. Hopefully it goes well. This is basically just going to be my writer and I, Jeremy. Why don't you say hi to the lovely people watching? And yeah, we are going to be watching Historyland. This week it'll be our Pirates of the Caribbean episode. We're going to be watching it just like a commentary, just like how directors do when they do commentary over movies. I don't have the slightest clue as to how that works, but we're gonna give our own shot at it, see how everything goes. Yeah. So before we start, Jeremy, how did you end up being such a good writer when it comes to writing Historyland? What is your sort of background when it comes to writing scripts and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, I'm a theater student, so I mean, I graduated a year ago, but yeah, so my background really is in, well, I studied acting, but I'm also a writer as well. So just yeah, I mean, I have that sort of theatrical background of storytelling, and somehow found my way into this as well. So it's all kind of related, I think, but it's been fun so far. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure everybody watching loves you because you write amazing scripts. Historyland would be nothing without Jeremy. But yeah, so big thank you to Jeremy for putting out all these amazing videos on an almost weekly basis. I think we decided that we're going to be doing bi-weekly Historyland so far. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how this goes, this commentary video. I'm ready to play it when you are.
Let's just do it and see what happens.
All right. Let's see. I'll count us down. 3. Oh, I'll count down from 3 to 1, and then on 1, we'll press play. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Here we go. Opening shot of the Pirates of the Caribbean episode. I was very proud of this opening, but even looking back on it, it is kind of long. Now that I think about it, it doesn't really have anything to do with the episode.
It doesn't. It's interesting. I think I wrote this weird thing in the script. That, I mean, of course, it was like this weird abstract collage montage of clips and colors and shapes of just like the progression of storytelling abstractly kind of shown visually, and you were like, oh, I'm gonna do this one thing and not that. I was like, all right, great, that's what collaboration is. He did this kind of cool intro. I don't know, that could be there for more episodes or something like it. It's cool. I'm gonna see how I can riff off of that.
I mean, I thought it looked pretty cool, but like I said, it doesn't really have much to do with the episode as a whole. It probably would have been better if it was just like its own thing, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Here, I meant to put not just this blurred, like sort of kaleidoscope stuff from the old Wonderful World of Color episodes. I meant to have like clips over this, but I was so, what is the word I'm looking for? So engaged in trying to make the rest of the episode look as amazing as it did. I completely forgot to put the clips over that, but I mean, it still looks okay.
No, I like it.
I was gonna say it did sort of hurt my eyes a little bit, but yeah, all the blurred stuff. But here is, of course, the new intro for Historyland. I talked about this on, I think it was 2 weeks ago. On the podcast, maybe it was last week. It was last week, I think. I can never remember the dates, but I expected a lot of backlash from this intro because I know a lot of people really loved the sort of people mover music that I had in the background, sort of happy music, I guess you could say. But we haven't had that yet. We'll see how it goes next week with the newer episode, but yeah, I'm very proud.
I think people have pretty much embraced the idea that Volume 3 is going to be something new and exciting. So I think the intro really sets the tone for that. So that's good.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And here we have sort of little thing I did at the beginning with the beats of the New Orleans Square music. I really do enjoy the background music in New Orleans Square. I never really listened to it before the episode, but when I listened to it to put this episode together, it's like, oh my gosh, I could listen to this all day long.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
It represented an age of braving new frontiers.
I like to do at the beginning
at the land's forefront
episode is kind of set a contextual tone, what was going on in the park at the time, or what was going on at the studio at the time.
The Missouri, the Rio Grande, and the Mississippi.
Like thrust us forward into the narrative of whatever history is being told.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of with this part. Yeah.
Yeah, you really did do an amazing job. And I think I mentioned in the podcast Alex and I did a while ago. This is all the stuff in Historyland is just sort of us experimenting with what looks good, what sounds good, what flows well from writing, or I guess from like pen to word. That's not the right saying. You guys know what I mean. But with those sort of like 3D movements. Yeah, page to screen. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. But those sort of like subtle 3D movements of the pictures of the New Orleans Square concept art. That was something I picked up from, gosh, I can't remember the video. But it was another YouTube video. I thought it looked cool, so I decided to put it in this episode. Here you can see it again. Not sort of as well as the first parts, but yeah, like I said, this is just sort of us experimenting what looks good, what doesn't look good, and deciding how Historyland Volume 3 will eventually look in its final form. I don't think Historyland is ever going to have like a final form. It's always going to be like changing. It's always going to be transforming into something completely different than what we first envisioned, but yeah, that's that.
Right. Well, it'll just like Disneyland.
Yeah, Historyland will never be complete.
But a little bit earlier, we saw just very brief clips of Treasure Island. I don't know why I never mentioned briefly in the script, but as kind of a precursor, picked out a little couple of clips very earlier on, like a minute or so ago. So
yeah, when I put together like the visual stuff for Historyland, it's sort of, man, I don't know how to explain it. It's sort of, sometimes it's random, sometimes it has to do with what's happening. Like here you can see Walt. I'm talking about what Walt is saying, I believe, and then I picture Walt, or video of Walt, of course. But in the script, the whole episode is about, you know, like Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was trying to look back of what like Disney videos or movies of that time had to do with like pirates and stuff, and I don't know, I completely forgot about Treasure Planet. Or Treasure Island, I should say. Treasure Planet is a completely different movie.
Treasure Planet comes a little later.
Yeah, I got my times mixed up. But yeah, I completely forgot about I almost said Treasure Planet again. Treasure Island, and I decided have those clips thrown in. It would look cool. It would convey the story across. And here is the first commercial.
These commercials are so odd.
Yeah.
All of these vintage commercials.
Yeah, I always enjoy looking back on these commercials and sort of comparing these to what we have now. Like, the commercials for like Disneyland, Disney World that we have now are so bland, it feels like, compared to like these energetic. All these people look like they're having so much fun, and like just like the style of the way they're edited and filmed and put together is just completely different from the ones that we have now, and it really just does really blow my mind. black
the New
screen.
York
Here
World's
we
Fair
go.
was a success, and Disney's contributions took the
Gosh,
country by
when Jeremy put in the script that he wanted
plans to bring each of the World's Fair attractions to Disneyland,
music from,
it was
oh
time to
gosh, I
work
can't
on
remember
something new for the park.
what the music was from,
New
but this
Orleans
music
Square
is
was a short way
very,
to go,
I tried
but
using this
Walt
song
wasn't
in
sure
a
Mark
previous
Davis's
episode of
photo
the,
pirate
I think it was on the
exhibition
Carousel of
could quite match
Progress,
that level of
and
quality
I got
and
copyright
majesty
striked
that
right
the
away. I had
World's
to
Fair
take the
attraction
video down and
possessed.
edit the music out
Human
and
audio
re-upload it
animatronic
without the
figures
music, and
and
I was
UX
very
systems,
weary
Mark's designs
as to
already seemed
if we were going to be
outdated,
able to use all
even
this
though it
music
had
in the
only been
background.
just a
But turns
few
out
short years since
YouTube,
those
the
sketches
bots of
And you
YouTube,
choose what you feel you can use, yeah.
Regardless, it was
yeah,
time to go
and
back to the
the
drawing
bots of
board.
YouTube
This
decided
time,
to
Mark
give me a
Davis
free
and his many
pass, or at least like
collaborators
3
would
free
be
passes, because a
inspired
lot
by
of the
many
music that we
artistic
use in the background of
discoveries
this
they made at
episode
the
is
World's Fair.
very
With Carousel
hardly,
of Progress
or
and Great Moments
yeah,
with Mr.
it's the
Lincoln,
music that
they can
sort
now
of the
use
YouTube bots
human
look out for,
figures
like
that
the
can
Yo-Ho,
talk and move as
Parrot's Life
close
for
to
Me.
human
That
beings as
song,
possible.
um,
Instead
yeah,
of wax figures,
very,
they could
very
make
excited
their
that we were
pirates
able
come
to use this
fully
music.
alive to
Able to
tell
get
the
away with
story.
it, yeah.
But those two attractions were in
It's like-
theaters. Yes, one moved,
It's good
but
because
not
you really, you know,
directly
it's hard
into the action.
to set the
audience
tone,
was still an observer. With
anything
Wagner's
without
boat
using their
ride system
music.
used for It's a
yeah,
Small
like with the
World,
It's a Small World
this
video,
problem would
I
be
wanted to
solved.
use the It's
Now
a
the
Small World
audience would
song
be
so
able to be
bad,
thrust
but
directly
I
into
knew
the
that
story
that
and be fully
one in
transported to
particular
witness the
is
pirates'
one of the
lives.
ones that will
With all
really,
these elements coming together,
like, if
there were
it's
the
used in like
makings
any
of a
form,
great
even
new
if it's
Disney
just like a couple
attraction.
seconds, it will
But
immediately
what of
get
the
you
story?
copyright flag
Surely
the
just
video. You'll have to take it
exhibition
down,
of
re-upload it,
situational
take the music
scenes would
out.
do. But at the time,
Yeah,
according to
so
Mark,
that's why we didn't
Walt
use the
didn't
It's a
like the
Small
idea
World
of
music in
telling
the It's a
stories in
Small
this
World
medium.
video a
It's
couple weeks
not a
ago.
storytelling
Now you
medium
guys
in the
know.
sense of a movie.
I
But
think
it
it,
does
you know,
give
it
you
still worked. It didn't feel missed,
experience
I don't
the
think,
idea of
in the final
pirates,
product.
unquote. With
Yeah.
this
Because
in mind,
ultimately,
what was
that was
now
a that was a
hesitation for
story
Mark was
about
now a revelation. Without disregarding
the
his
artists
prior
working on it,
research,
and Mary
Mark
Blair, and
realized he could use his
uh,
masterful sense of visual
like an
cue to
overall
make fun
general
of these
history of
17th
Small
century
World, in
pirates,
which I think the
not
song would be
celebrate them.
like missed.
With all
Yeah.
these new exciting
Um,
possibilities, Mark drew his
stories
designs
being
that
told.
perfectly
I think same with
highlighted
this one
who the
too. I mean,
swashbuckling buccaneers
something I like to do
really
is always
were.
have,
Walt brought animator
you know, find out what
Xavier
stories
X
being
Atencio
told
on board to
as
pen the
opposed
ride
to
script,
just
and
what are the
was, like Mark
facts, because the
Davis,
facts you can
initially
find anywhere and you can
hesitant to
find
do
them
so.
in many other
This kid spent
videos.
his time at the
But if you
studio
tell a
as a
story
journalist,
about what
not
the
as a
artists
writer.
were going
But
for,
after
what
Walt
Walt was
encouraged
trying
his
to,
writing ability
what his
after he
vision
shared
was, and
draft
how he
of the
was
scene,
trying to fulfill it, and how
Atencio
his artists
enthusiastically proceeded with
went
the
about that, I
project,
think
but
there's a more
encountered a
compelling
similar
story
problem
there
Mark Davis faced.
than
How
just
would guests
the ride opened on this
approach
date.
every word
The
the
you know the
pirates said?
there's this much water in the
Mm.
canal.
Yeah.
And, you know.
It's just like going to a cocktail party.
Oh
You
gosh,
tune in
those
on this
kinds of
conversation, then
videos
you
I
tune
do
in on
not
that one over
enjoy
there.
watching.
Every
or-
time you come in,
but-
you'll hear something completely different. Unquote.
Gosh,
With
looking
his
at all this,
newfound
Mark
writing
Davis,
abilities,
he really was
Atencio
almost like a
also
genius
approached
when it
Walt
came
about
to
some lyric ideas he
designing
had
all
for a
this
song
stuff.
the pirates could possibly sing.
Looking, I was
After
when
he
I was making the
recited the
video, I
words,
was looking
Walt
through all
told
of
him
his
to work
concept
with
art for
staff
Pirates of the
composer
Caribbean,
George
and it's just
Bruns
all these
directed.
images are just
The
so
two immediately
amazing,
started working on
and they
the song
translated
that
so
would
well
to
to the
music.
actual
Mark's
attraction.
humorous
It's
visual
really
world
it really is
and add a
amazing.
vital piece to this new Pirates experience.
And he was probably one of the
Master
best
sculptor Mel
animators
Gibson would
at
bring
the
Mark
studio
Davis's drawings
too.
to the three-dimensional real world. Claude Coates
Just
would take his scene sketches and
incredible
design the
artist.
ride
Same with
layout.
Claude Coates, who's right
Alice
there.
Davis would design the
His
very
contributions to
specific
the
and
attraction
elaborate
are
costumes for the
incredible.
animatronic
Just
figures.
totally set the
Bob
atmospheric
Gerwig has
tone
the
for the whole
Bokeem
thing.
ride system,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Harriet Burns
And
would
it's
build
funny
the
because
models.
before I started this
There was
YouTube
only
channel, I
one
didn't really
problem.
know
In order
anything
to get into the
about, like,
underground
I didn't really
space
know
where
who
the
Mark
attraction
Davis
would
was or
house,
Claude Coates. I
the
had no
boats would
idea
have
who
to
those
travel
people are. And
down
now,
and up a
this
waterfall
far
to
of
and from the space.
how we've come in this
This new
YouTube channel,
requirement
whenever I
meant that the
watch
hole
like the
originally
old
dug was all
old school
used up.
Disney
There
movies
was
like
now
Peter
no
Pan or
space for all the big scenes that
not
were
Dumbo.
planned.
I was gonna say
The
Dumbo. I haven't
space
seen
had to now
Dumbo
be
yet, sadly,
expanded under
but
the
But you
railroad
should. It's a
into larger
masterpiece.
space
But
at
that's
the
what
new
everybody
scene.
says. I just
This,
have
of
I just
course,
haven't
led
had the
to a new
time.
problem.
But
What
whenever
would
I
fill the
look
space
back,
before
like watch the
these
opening
scenes?
credits, I always see those same nine people, and it's amazing how animators could like move so well to designing actual like sets and attractions. It really blew my mind.
Yeah, and it's kind of a mystery to me how Walt knew what animators to take and bring onto the theme park projects. Like Blaine Gibson, I'm not sure if he was just an animator at the studio, but he was never a sculptor.
one in which the
And
audience
he
is the
somehow just knew he
protagonist,
was
and their
going to be
experience
able
is
to
the
do that.
story.
Same with how we
Bob
talk about
Kurtz's layout design
Exitensio,
brought each of the attraction's elements
uh,
together. The
storyboard
characters,
artist
the sets,
essentially,
the dialogue,
and
and
never
the
wrote a
music.
script in his life, and
Scene
somehow
flowed
knew that he could
effortlessly
write
to the next,
these.
from the swampy Louisiana bayou to the
I mean,
haunted caves and
listen
caverns
to the
of
lines in the ride. I
Atlantis,
mean, they're
to the
Yeah.
life
everyone
of
knows
the
what they
ship
are,
Caribbean
and
town.
they're
From
brilliantly
the dream
written.
of burning buildings and loot to the
Gosh,
escape
absolutely.
back up the
Walt really
waterfall
was
where it
a
all
genius
began.
when it came to that kind of
Pirates
stuff.
of the Caribbean was born, but
He
in late
knew
1966,
how
Walt
to
fell
exact his
unexpectedly ill. He was eventually
and who was going to be able
hospitalized
to
and diagnosed with
be the
lung
best
cancer.
collaborators for that. And I
Walt
think
died
that was
suddenly on
what was
December 15th,
missed when he
1966.
died, which timed out perfectly with what's going on the screen.
Three months
Yeah.
later on March 18th, 1967, with a large press ceremony and a later televised event. On theme park attractions, Walt once said, quote,
Gosh, I
"This
really
is
do
the beginning of an
appreciate
entirely new form of art and
this
entertainment,
footage,
which will eventually take
like
the
this
place inside
specific
the theater,
episode,
and motion pictures."
because
Unquote.
I wouldn't
He had
have much to
projects
work
lined up
with
to follow
if it
Pirates of the
weren't for this
Caribbean,
specific
Right.
episode of like
There's
the
so
Wonderful World
much.
of Disney.
with new rides for Disneyland and
There's
new plans
the-
for Walt Disney
And I
World.
think, yeah, the Wonderful World of Disney episode where they have the opening of Pirates and they show all this amazing footage of the ride when it first opened,
Yeah, like just
which is incredible.
beautiful footage, and you wouldn't think that this, like back then, that they'd be able to get like amazing footage of the ride. Like you see family home videos of like Pirates of the Caribbean from the same time, and they're like really terrible compared to this. I mean, of course, this is just like bigger production value, better cameras, all that stuff, but it really is amazing. And I do thank whoever filmed all of that footage. If you're somehow listening to this, thank you for filming all of that.
Yeah.
And I do remember that episode. I think it was in like the bonus features of the Pirates of the Caribbean, the first movie, and that was like my first.
Was it really?
I think so, if I'm remembering correctly. Either the first movie or the second one. It was like in that whole episode of the Wonderful World of Disney about like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. That was like really my first introduction to all of this kind of, oh, people actually built this, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's really amazing.
Walt's death, all the Disney artists, both at the
Gosh,
studio
before
and
this
the web,
episode, I'd never
faced
listened
the
to
chaotic
the
period
background
of
music
not
that's playing,
knowing
but it
what
really
the
does.
future of
It's a
the
really
world
amazing
holds.
song, and it
It
fits
was
almost
hard to
perfectly
determine
with
which
what
projects
we're
to take
talking
on.
about.
I didn't know
here.
that you were going
Walt's
to basically
guidance
use
and
this song for the whole
but
final
one
part of the
artist felt
video, but
confident in his instincts to move on to greater
it works.
projects.
It works.
This artist was
It really
Mark
works.
Davis. He believed the
Gosh.
path that Pirates of the
There's
Caribbean
Mark
paved at
Davis. I wish I
Disneyland
could meet
could be
all these
just the
people. I
beginning of
really
a new
do.
era for this newfound art. Believing in Walt's artistic
Unfortunately, all the
vision for
9
Disney
old
World,
men are
he
are
set
now
out to design a worthy
gone,
successor
but
to Pirates
there's
of the
still some
Caribbean
great
on the
artists that are still
frontier.
alive.
This attraction was the
So there's still
Western
time
River
to meet some of
Expedition.
them.
Pirates of the Caribbean was
Hopefully,
not
maybe one
planned for
day.
Florida at the time,
And with the
because the
Western
company
River
felt
Expedition,
strongly
I always
that
have trouble
Walt's
saying
wishes
that.
for the Magic Kingdom to
Western
be
River
different
Expedition
from
is really one of those rides that
However,
never came
when
to
the park
fruition that I
opened in
really wish
1971,
would
the
have
nationally
been
popular
built
Pirates
so
of
I
the
could
Caribbean
experience it, because it
Yeah.
really
fell
did look like an
short-handed.
amazing
There
attraction.
was a
Of
vocal
course,
demand
you guys
for
know
a
I did do an
Florida version
episode
of the
on the
Pirates
Western River
ride.
Expedition a
This
while
and a
back,
number of various other
where I go
reasons
more into depth
eventually
about
led
it.
to
But
Western River Expedition
gosh,
to
Mark
become a
Davis, like I
wholly
said, he really was a
different
genius when it came to all this kind of stuff, and just seeing all the models and all the concept art for everything, it really does look like an amazing attraction, something that would rival Pirates, which is what it was meant to do, rival Pirates of the Caribbean.
The solution was
And not,
to
yeah,
use the
I wouldn't say
attraction
necessarily
in the Caribbean Plaza
rival,
section of Adventureland.
but definitely
As the
take what was
attraction's
going,
thematic
what they
setting
were
would now already
discovering
be the Caribbean,
artistically with
the
Pirates
ride would
and,
have to be significantly scaled
you know,
down.
just
Yeah.
There would be no
seeing what the
need for
next
the
new
blue
thing was,
box
as they
sequence
always
that
did. I
transported
mean,
guests back to when pirates were storming
each
nearby
subsequent
coasts.
animated
Now the
film
attraction
of the,
would
you know,
start
the period
immediately with the
too.
grotto, taking guests down only one
You can see what they learned in the last one and how they just pushed it forward in the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first rode the Pirates attraction in the Magic Kingdom, I was very underwhelmed, but after making this episode, I do have a new appreciation for all the missing scenes, for how short it is. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah,
Mark Davis would
exactly.
also design a new finale. The boats would no longer ascend up a waterfall to escape the burning village. Instead, guests would see the pirates with their
Mark
stolen
Davis
loot
hated the
retrograde
fact that you
the
had to
ride
go
of
back up
separate
the waterfall
lifeboat
at the end, and
stations
so in the
beginning of the
subsequent
book.
versions that he
This
helped
version of
design,
Pirates
he
opened on
tried to
December
get rid of
15th,
that part of it.
1973.
Personally,
Really?
I think
Walt
it's
Disney
a
World
thrilling
would
part
prove
of
to be
Yeah.
just
the
as popular
Disneyland
as
attraction.
its Disneyland counterpart.
And of course, the
Mark
famous in
Davis
the
would
video
also
of Walt
reapproach the attraction
talking
for
about,
Tokyo Disneyland.
you know,
This time he
selling
would
Pirates of
keep
the
the
Caribbean to the
blue
public,
lights,
basically, where he
have
says
only
that
one
famous
drop, and keep the separate
the
water
waterfall. I
drop.
mean, I just think
Even
it's a
though this would be
thrilling.
the final Pirates ride Mark Davis would design, it still proved
Yeah.
that it was an
I
attraction
mean,
that
Walt
could
says
never
himself
quite rid himself
when he
of.
talks about that
He
in
always saw
the
potential
World of
for it
Disney
to grow
video.
and change
Anything's
and
possible at
challenge itself.
Disneyland when he's talking
In the early
to, I think it's
1990s,
Julie Reams.
Imagineers would reimagine
And it's
That's
like,
right, yeah.
oh my gosh, it's just,
to
it
figure out a
almost
new
gives
way
me
to tell
chills when he
stories
says
in
that,
Disneyland
because
Paris. Now,
going
guests
down a
would start their
waterfall,
voyage into
getting
the
into a
abandoned
burning
fortress,
building,
fall down the
burning all
waterfall
that
to
stuff,
see how the
what's
fortress
happening on
got
the ride, and then
destroyed,
you go up the
and venture
waterfall
through the traditional
to escape all that. It's really
After the
amazing.
scene of the summer
I
town,
never would have
guests
thought,
would
if I
go
were
down
putting the attraction
another
together, I never
waterfall
would have thought
and
to
enter the
go
grotto sequence
back
as
up the
finale.
waterfall. You know what I
At
mean?
this point, Pirates of the Caribbean had become a cultural fascination. It was an experience
Well,
for
thing
which
like you
any
literally
Caribbean
had to
visitor
somehow go
in the
back up
1990s, with its
to
consistent
the loading
popularity
area.
for over 30 years, Aladdin
So
screenplays
imaginative, and the
Teddy
ride's
Elliott and
already so
Terry
abstract to
Rossio
begin with
wrote
that
a
it
Mhm.
just
screenplay for a film
it works.
adaptation of the beloved attraction. The
It
result
works.
was
That's the
Pirates
perfect
of the Caribbean,
the perfect couple
Curse of the
words to
Black
use when
Pearl.
talking about this
The film
ride. It
proved to be
works.
just as popular as the attraction,
It
and went on
works.
to
It
have 4
works.
additional sequels. With
Man,
the
these
success
Pirates of the
and
Caribbean
popularity of
movies.
the films, Walt Disney
You
and
guys have heard me
Disney
talk
felt the
about
need to
the
bring
Pirates of the
new
Caribbean
pop
movies, my
culture
thoughts on them.
sensation to the
The first
classic
one is
Disney
amazing,
attraction.
but then they
Figures
just
of
start
Jack
going
Sparrow
way
would have
downhill.
just,
various sequences throughout
it's
the
kind of the
ride,
start,
as
I
well as
think, of
Davy
the
Jones and
contemporary
Captain
Disney
This
philosophy. Of course,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
controversial
of like just
and
pushing,
attraction
pushing,
is
pushing,
so
pushing,
sensitive
pushing
Mhm.
something
and
until the public
consistent
really
with
is like,
its
please stop.
creative vision. This scene would
Oh
slowly, over the
gosh.
course of
Yeah,
10
like
years,
the newer
make
Pirates of the
its way to
Caribbean
other
movie is
various
just
versions
so
of the
strange.
attractions around the world. In
Gosh.
Shanghai
My mom loved the
Disneyland,
movie.
the
That's all I
newest
can
Disney
say.
park, a brand new Pirates ride would be built. This time, it would
And
fully
this
depart
Shanghai
itself
Pirates
from the Anaheim
attraction,
original for a ride
it
based
really is
solely on
something. I mean, I've
Pirates
I haven't
attractions.
experienced it in
Using
real
roof
life,
projection
but from the
mapping
footage I've
technology,
seen,
as
it
well as a
really
brand
does
new
look
ride
like
system,
something
the new
completely
attraction mostly
amazing,
odd,
really.
but still caused
With the
controversy in
mixing of
Disney
the practical
community.
effects you can
This
see
would
with
be
the
the
ships, and
first
then of
time
course the
controversy
projections
surround the
with
beloved
the
pirates.
backgrounds and
In the
everything. It
1990s
really
at
does.
Disneyland, scenes thought
Gosh,
to be
I don't know. It just
socially
really, it's really
controversial
amazing.
were
That's all I can
revised
say.
to match the social
Yeah, it
standards
does
of
look
the
like an
time.
incredible
Today in
experience. It does look like
2018, we have seen new changes as well.
an incredible
Now,
experience
the
indeed.
famous bride auction
Um,
scene has been significantly altered, and the
I'll always
famous
prefer
red
more
and
practical
yellow
effects
curtain
to
Yeah.
screen
transformed
projection,
into
but I've
blood.
heard that it does
Whether the
actually
change
achieve a
is
happy
deemed good or
medium.
bad by the
Uh,
annals of Disney
Interesting.
history is still to be
see.
determined. But
I
the
think it's more
fact that
thrilling to
the theme park
be
attraction is looked up to and expected
place.
to listen and
Um,
adhere to a relevant cultural standard is stunning. Pirates of the Caribbean has proved
Story
itself
and
to be
concept
attractive
unique
that the
to
public will always deem relevant.
action, but
No matter what movies are released,
that doesn't
or
mean
what
the ride
social
system can
situations
be,
we find ourselves in. It's
you
a
know,
vital
I think
part
Flight
of
of
our
Passage
culture.
is a great
From
example
theme
of
parks
that.
to
Yeah.
I think it's more the
motorcycles,
ride
it
system that
contains a
people
mythic
are
and sacred
thrilled about,
quality
and that
and
it is
character
it's
that
an absolutely
transcends
thrilling
generational
experience, and if you
phases
haven't
of
gone on it,
fashion.
it's worth the wait.
It is
Mhm.
truly a ride that will
I haven't
never
been on
be
it yet,
finished.
but I hope to
The
go on
morning
soon.
after Walt
Very
Disney
good.
visited the Carlsbad Caverns,
This part right
the
here is
tour
one of my
guide that
favorite
allowed him
parts
to
in the
stay the
entire
night
episode.
approached him and asked his thoughts.
This sort of
He said the
ending of the
following,
video
quote,
with Walt's
"When you
quote.
spend the night at a place like this by yourself is when you
Sums
realize
up
the
what,
hand of God is what built this. Man in a million
Parks
years
are kinda
wouldn't be
all
able to
about.
make a scratch of what this room is.
And actually, this
You know,
quote
I
is
have a place in California called
it's not
Disneyland.
directly Walt, it's
nothing
someone
compared
telling
to
a
this.
story
And
about
I just
Walt
hope
saying this
someday
exactly. So it's
people will be
probably a
able to go back
paraphrase,
and
but
say,
you know, that
"This
just
is
wouldn't
it.
work for the
This is
flow
it."
of the
Unquote.
Yeah.
the story.
And here we are, the end of the episode. Gosh. Any final thoughts, Jeremy, on on everything we talked about on the episode as a whole?
I think it's a great start to whatever comes next. not necessarily to top this, but you know, Pirates has such a clear and well-researched and history full of amazing resources, whereas other attractions, you know, you'll kind of have to do a little more what the story might be around it. But I think we'll get it. I think we'll do it.
Yeah, this was really one of my favorite episodes. I said that about the Small World episode, but this, the Pirates of the Caribbean episode, has really topped It's a Small World, in my opinion. Gosh, yeah. So I think that's it. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone for showing your amazing support on this episode in particular. We're glad you like it, and for those of you guys who weren't fans of the episode, we hope you, I don't know, give us what you didn't like. Maybe we can tweak some.
Let us know.
Let us know. Yeah, because gosh, I really do enjoy making all these YouTube videos for you guys. I love editing. I love motion graphics, all that kind of stuff. This is heaven for me, doing all this stuff. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up this video. I'm not sure if this is gonna be, I was toying with the idea of making this Patreon only. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how this episode does. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Jeremy, for sitting with me for 20 minutes talking about this episode. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. As always, have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.